welcome to another episode of Earning the Hate. Hey, gun people. Well, here's some good police earning the hate, continuing to discredit law enforcement, any checks and balance, and protecting that blue line that idiots keep saying is perfect. Here we go. Poor little kid gets hit by an off-duty cop who's drunk, and they cover it up.
2020. Hours later, Reardon was
until it wasn't.
2-year-old Kevin Cavooris was all smiles playing at his child care center on an afternoon in 2020. Hours later, Reardon was fighting for his life at Stony Brook University Hospital.
For 48 hours, I didn't know if he would ever wake up.
His father, Kevin, was driving with Reardon and slowed to make a turn when a pickup...
This truck is going at least double the speed limit of all the other cars.
Truck crashed into the back of their car at a speed estimated by Newsday at more than 50 miles.
So I don't know what the speed limit was, but this truck was...
crashed into the back of their car.
He rapidly ran into him.
At a speed estimated by Newsday at...
Drunk, doesn't return to the crime scene, leaves the crime scene, and walks. No charges. Off-duty cop.
More than 50 miles per hour. The impact fractured Reardon's skull.
It was basically an pressing down on his brain.
Reardon's mother, Valerie, rode with him to the hospital.
They asked me to submit to a breathalyzer. I hadn't caused the accident. It was obvious. It wasn't that fault.
Valerie and Kevin assumed police would fully investigate the crash. Then they discovered the driver of the pickup truck was an off-duty Suffolk County police officer.
Completely.
So this officer right here,
Suffolk County police officer.
If you Google his name, guess what comes up first? More propaganda with these left-wing companies working with government. So I Googled him, and it case made a Facebook. And here's the article. Police Commissioner Officer David, 4th Precinct, was Cop of the Month. He's been on department since 2004. Well, 4 letters of appreciation. Oh, he went into a building and saved a woman. This is what comes up when you Google this guy. It just freaking kills me. I'm like, hey, you gotta be kidding me.
Completely shifted my entire narrative of the situation, and I felt like I had to reprocess everything all over again.
3 hours after the crash, Officer David Mascarella refused to take a breath test to see whether he had been drinking.
I just wondered, if...
to seek a warrant to test for alcohol in Mascarella's blood.
They failed to do a reasonable investigation that they gave the off-duty officer.
So here's the problem when you trust government. Government gets to pick and choose when they follow the rules. Government gets to protect their own. Government is able to hold you to a higher standard than they hold themselves. Government power is never good. Government power leads to tyranny. And supporting this blind blue line of all cops are heroes and we can't go after any cop or judge or DA or politician because the government gives all those people special immunity protection. It's total bullshit.
Sir, more benefits than he was entitled to.
No other individual would get the same type of deference.
I disagree. Politicians get it. Judges get it. Lawyers get it. I disagree. It's not just cops. I'm not trying to defend cops, but it's not just cops.
That this officer got at that scene.
The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office launched an investigation, then closed it. Without a blood or breath test, there was no way to determine whether Mascarella was intoxicated.
Total bullshit. I don't care if he's got a blood test or not. His behavior, his actions, his driving style, the fact that he caused an accident, that he was speeding, that he refused the blood test, all that is chargeable. I could put that in front of a jury and get a damn conviction. That's bullshit. This DA kicked the can down the road. And even without alcohol, his speed and his reckless driving caused serious bodily injury, which is felony behavior, and he should have been charged with that, vehicular manslaughter, or attempted vehicular manslaughter. He could have been charged with something. They're making it, without a blood test, we couldn't charge him with DUI, so we dropped the charges and nothing happened. Total bullshit.
Intoxicated.
A lot of investigative steps were not taken, so there are going to be some facts we just don't know.
You want to sit and let Mama talk?
We know a lot of facts.
Reardon today. He cannot run or jump. He wears a leg brace. Reardon required extensive rehabilitation. He had to relearn even how to eat.
That might affect his ability. It might affect, ultimately, life expectancy.
For 2 years, Kevin and Valerie have tried to learn how the crash happened and whether Mascarella was held accountable. They have been met with official silence.
It's impossible.
Once again, when government wants to protect government, they claim it's a personnel issue, it's an ongoing investigation, it's classified, it's national security, it's public safety. All the keywords, man. I've been hearing these my entire life, and it's just like people don't connect the dots when they hear that shit. Government needs checks and balances and to be held accountable. Cops are government. This blue line bullshit, you got to protect them, otherwise your Antifa is just crap.
Possible to move on until we get the answers that
Project investigated. Pressed by Newsday, Suffolk DA Ray Tierney said that police failed to collect evidence that would have determined whether Mascarella committed a crime.
Bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. I'm telling you, I worked for the DA's office too damn long. I can make a case on this in a freaking minute. It's easy. He was driving recklessly. He was speeding. He was passing other vehicle. He caused a rear-end collision, which resulted in serious bodily injury to the kid. There are all kind of freaking charges that fit. And the DA's office is like, oh, well, without a breath test, we can't do anything. That's bullshit. Earning the hate. The DA is in the pocket with the cops. The cops and the DA work together. We're all part of the prosecution team, which is why I was always called not a team player, because my team is honest and integrity and doing the right thing. It's not being part of the team. And that's what our government is now, and it's bullshit.
Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison said he is working to prevent police from giving special treatment to off-duty
Oh, sure he is. He's working hard.
officers. A spokesman said Harrison is moving.
Okay, so here's another article where it goes into the specifics on what they did. Wait a minute, this picture distracted me. What's best about America? Hang on, let me check that out. Oh, I see. That's a nice picture. Look at all those trucks and flags and grass. Blue jeans. Anyway, I digress. Rick, you can't do that. You were talking. All right, I'm back to the article. Calm down. Here we go. So, I got to get that picture out of here. It keeps distracting. Okay. So, whistleblower damning report suggests crash took place 2020. Ram truck reportedly driving speeds more than 50. He was going a lot faster than 50. Here is the quick video footage of after the crash. Here goes the cop. Here's the guy with his kids in the car. He had his 2 sons in the car. In car seats in the back. Crash fractured his skull's head. Then the 4-year-old had bruises all over his body. Dad had a broken nose. Not to mention probably whiplash. The cop was assigned to 4th Precinct. Sergeant Lawrence, precinct officers failed at the scene to ask Marcello to submit to a breath test that would have provided preliminary whether he was... I don't need a breath test. I can arrest you for drunk driving on your behavior, your slurred speech, your driving pattern, you caused an accident, you're refusing a breathalyzer. I mean, this is just total BS. After he told Marcello he wanted to go a preliminary breath test, McQuaid notified somebody of the association delegate. The delegate then drove Marcello away from the investigators. So this is where people want to blame the union for shit. The guy that drove him away should be charged with conspiracy to obstruct. He obstructed an investigation. I don't care if he's a union member or not. His ass obstructed an investigation, and I would have snagged his ass and arrested him. Okay? I know you wouldn't have, Rick. You're full of shit if I wouldn't have. All right? Remember, I wasn't known as Mr. Team Player. I was known as be careful around Gore. He's one of those by-the-book guys. Okay? Ordered to catch up Marcella, 4th Precinct, Kevin falsely reported to a supervisor that he had given him a breath test and he passed. This guy needs to be charged with obstructing false information, providing false information during an investigation involving serious bodily injury. He needs to be charged. He later retracted the account. So he later changed his story. Tough shit. He wrote an official document. He passed on official information in the course of an investigation where somebody could have died. If that kid died, this becomes a murder investigation. This is a serious investigation. These cops just didn't give a shit. The blue line kicked in, and all you idiots talking about blue line heroes, and they're all heroes, and this is an isolated incident, and Rick must hate cops because they slept with his wife or whatever the hell else you want to excuse away this freaking appalling conduct. 3 hours after the crash, Deputy Inspector Mark Frisch took a breath test. He refused. 3 hours later, he refused. When the driver refuses a preliminary death test, it's typical to seek a warrant to take blood draw and force blood draw. Any judge would have signed a blood draw warrant on this if you'd have went and asked. We've got a kid on life support. He's in a hospital. He may die. This guy was going over the speed limit. He's a cop. He's refusing to take a test. He obstructed the investigation and left in the middle of the interview. He's already delayed us for 3 hours. I need a warrant to seize blood because evidence is being destroyed. Absolutely, a judge would have signed that warrant, and I would have knocked that warrant out in probably 20 minutes. So these guys are just freaking scum in my book. Police failed to notify the district attorney's office on the night of the crash. What happens when cops get high-risk crimes or murders? They usually call the DA's office so we can get involved. The DA will send out his DA investigator. Sometimes we'll take over the scene. Sometimes we'll assist. Sometimes we'll run a parallel investigation with them. But regardless, if we go out there, there's another set of eyes, and there's something that doesn't work for these cops. And when we see this bullshit, we can intervene and do what needs to be done. They didn't even notify. Again, obstruction of the investigation by the Blue Line heroes that everybody has to support, because if you don't support them, you must be Antifa and whatever. Although 5 officers wrote reports stating they saw no evidence that he was intoxicated, prosecutors under then Temp subsequently investigated the crash with an eye toward charging him for vehicular assault. Why didn't they? They don't need a breath test to charge him with that. Lacking blood tests that would have revealed his intoxication, they closed the investigation without action. Absolutely criminal. This is total bullshit. And I'm telling you, man, the cops just keep earning the hate, and you idiots that keep blindly supporting these tyrant, lying, unethical pieces of crap and calling it isolated incidents. For every one of those we see, there's probably 100 we don't see. And you idiots keep blaming me for making cops look bad because it's bullshit. And any good cop will agree with me. All right? We'll end that there. Earning the hate.